Hi, welcome to Homemaker Living. Today is all about getting as many seedlings in the ground as possible before we have some weather coming in. Once again, Mother Nature is not cooperating for the garden season. We just came off of some really low temps again. We're well past our average last frost date, and we had temps that were as low as 30 a couple nights in a row. So I used frost cloth on a number of the beds, and I just was not willing to plant out any of my seedlings and take a gamble on that with that cold weather. So we're past that, but now we have a big rain thunderstorm coming in, and after that, several days of hot, sunny weather in the mid to upper 80s. So really, today is the day to get in as much as I can. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is get in the seedlings that are in these trays down here. Mostly they are flowers and herbs and some brassicas. And then I'm going to wait on my tomatoes, these sweet and grilling peppers, and my bell peppers and tomatillos. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little quick peek at what I'm going to plant, and then I'm going to get started. So I have two types of sunflowers here. This is Sunspot and Teddy Bear, and then I have one little zinnia sitting in here. And then down here I have some herbs, and this is basil for eating, chives, cilantro, maybe a little parsley, some dill, not looking that great, probably because it needs to get in the ground, and some chamomile. And then I have some flowers, black-eyed Susans, more zinnias. Everything's been under grow lights, and they did get a little bit leggy, but I'm going to go ahead and get them in the ground. Oh, and a couple little straw flowers here. That's new to me. Then I have some marigolds, a couple more things of celery. And here is the basil that I grew for pest control, and then some more broccoli and cabbage. And what else do I have? Oh, and then I've got all of this whole shelf of brassicas that I don't even really want to talk about, because all of these were in the ground, and then I took them out of the ground because I had an ant problem and they were eating all my brassicas. So I tried to save them all, and I didn't lose any yet, but they're going to go back in the ground too. I'm going to get started in the herb bed. I'm going to go ahead and use this little plot that I have available to put the basil in. I've already transplanted parsley previously, and direct sowed cilantro, dill, and more parsley. So I don't have a lot of room in this bed, but I'm going to try to squeeze the chives in and maybe this dill as well. But I'll get started with the basil. I'm going to put in all of the planting holes for these greens, this alfalfa meal from Down to Earth, just a little bit of nitrogen to help promote the vegetative growth on top. I'll get started with just digging these holes in. The cells are really small. I don't think I need to dig very big holes. I've moved down to the middle of the bed, and I only have 4 spots available. There are 4 emitter holes in these irrigation lines right here. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and pop the dill in there, and the chives, which I was going to put there, I think I will just put in with some onions. You know, gardening is trial and error, practice and learn as you go. In this bed, I'm going to plant a number of sunflowers. I was going to do all sunflowers, but I think I'm going to go ahead and throw some chamomile at the end. So here I have Sunspot sunflowers, and I was going to put them in with the sweet potatoes, but I read and saw online that that sunflowers don't play well with other plants. I think there's some controversy about that, but I don't want to take the chance. So I'm not going to put sunflowers in with any of my vegetables. So I'm going to put the sunspot here. Then I have 3 teddy bear in the center, which get multiple blooms on them. They get about 24 to 36 inches high, so about 3 feet. And they are a little bit bushy, or a lot of bit bushy. And then these tall ones, like I said, they were under grow lights with all the others. And these are only supposed to be 18 to 24 inches tall. And they're already really leggy. So I don't know if you can plant them deep or not. I'm going to sink them down a little bit. But these should be shorter. So the idea is then 3 feet, then 18 inches to 2 feet. And then the chamomile in the front, I think, will be kind of pretty with it being white and yellow. And they grow about 24 inches high. So I think that should work. So I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to give them some of this fish bone meal from Down to Earth. It's got 4 nitrogen, 12 potassium, and the potassium is great for root development and promoting blooms. So we'll give them just a little bit of this, just like I did in other plantings. If I remember correctly, sunflowers don't like the roots messed with. Like I said, if I'm remembering correctly, this one I was kind of roughing up the roots because they were a little root bound, but I don't think I'm going to do that with the others, just in case I am correct with that. Sunflower and chamomile bed complete. Went ahead, like I said, and got 3 sunspots in the back, 3 teddy bears in the center, and then 4 of these Colorado something. I don't remember the name of them. And then 3 of the little chamomiles, and those should get pretty big and bushy. So I know it looks a little sparse right now, and I've made sure I read to see how big these get, how far apart they should be. And the only thing I'm concerned about are the 3 teddy bear, because those do get quite bushy, but it should makes for a really pretty show, I think. In this bed, I already have placed in here 2 teddy bear sunflowers to flank this zinnia that is going to get quite large and bushy with a lot of blooms on it. And I put 2 of these Colorado ones, which are just 1 stalk with a sunflower on it, in the center. I think they have an orange and yellow head. I'll put a picture here. They're really pretty, if that's the one I'm thinking about. And I already have a couple zinnia apricots that are smaller flowers. They get a little bit bushy, nothing as big as this one. And then, like I said, I had a couple of giant marigolds in here. But I think I'm going to go ahead and add, I did have a zinnia right here and it died. So I think I'm going to put 3 in here. 1 here, 1 there, 1 there. Kind of get this to fill out a little bit more than it was last year. This is my 2nd year of growing flower starts. Last year I did grow zinnias, some sunflowers, and some goblin carpet blanket type flowers. And flowers can be challenging. They're slow to germinate, they're slow to grow, so you have to have patience for that. But it sure does save a lot of money by starting your own seeds. So this bed right here would cost me upwards of over $50 if I was averaging $4 a flower. And I think that's an average cost. Sometimes you can see $3, $5 or $6, but I just went with the middle ground, $4. And with tax, this would cost about $55. So you do that times 3 beds and then sprinkling them in other places, you're well into a couple $100 for flowers. So granted, I have the seed packet cost, but some of these zinnias, I saved the seeds from last year. And of course the soil to start them. But it's just mostly your time and watching them. So I am sold on starting my own flowers and having that cost savings, and then really having the opportunity to get so many various types of flowers with different blooms, and you really have your pick versus going to a home store or something and just picking out what they have available. So at any rate, this bed is done. I've got the sunflowers in here, and let me go ahead and give you a peek at it up close. Here are the teddy bear sunflowers I planted on both sides, 2 of the Colorado in the center, and then 3 of these itty bitty little zinnias that are the apricot, which is this plant and that plant. I don't know what color blooms they'll have, but hopefully it's not too soon to plant them. They didn't have a lot of roots on them, but I have more if they don't. But I'm really anxious to get things in the ground. So I think this is going to be a really pretty color combination with not just the various flower colors, but also the height and the cascading look. I went ahead and finished off camera planting out this bed. It's just more of the same of the previous. I put 3 of the large zinnias, apricots in here. They should take up this whole headboard. And then I had a couple extra chamomile, so I threw them in on each side of this large marigold. They're supposed to get like 24 inches high, so that would be nice white, yellow and fluffy fill-ins on each side of that. And then, like I said in a previous video, I'm going to put sweet potatoes in this bed. So it should look just gorgeous with all the green foliage and it's spilling out the sides. At least that's my hope. Then I put a zinnia apricot here. Those are the very large ones that get bushy with lots of bulbs on them. And I can tie it to that post if it gets too heavy like I did last year. So it did really good there. And then I went ahead and stuck 3 more in here. So I put 1 here, and each of them have emitter holes on each side, so it'll get watered nicely. And then this year I went ahead and put 1 on the ends of these trellises. Again, they have emitters on both sides. And I put 1 right here. I think that's going to put a nice pop of color because they get really large and have a lot of blooms. I also popped in 3 of the celery. I already had previously planted these 9 and I'd started more, so I went ahead and you're supposed to let them get a little bit bigger than this before you transplant them, but kind of in a hurry to get them all done. So that could bite me in the tushy, but hopefully not. So I got those in there too. And so now I've moved on to planting out these hanging flower containers. Last year I struggled with them. They were just too dry and I couldn't keep them moist, but now I have the irrigation over here, so I'll put some irrigation in. But anyway, I went ahead and filled them with this soil that I have that's been kicking around. I never throw my bag soil away, like if I have it in planter containers and then it's done for the season, I'll just put them in a big tote, not this one, but a big black tote, and mix them all together. And then when I go to plant something next year in containers, I will just reuse that soil and mix in new soil with it and some amendments so that it refeeds the soil, and then that will feed the plants as well. So don't waste your money on throwing out your container soil every year. I mean, unless it's like completely full of roots and you don't have much soil left. But if you've got a lot of loose soil, don't be throwing it out and getting rid of it. So I just went ahead and mixed a bunch up, added some amendments, and got it nice and moist. But I think that's pretty good. Now, I didn't really have a plan for flowers for this because, like I said, last year I really struggled with keeping them moist. And as soon as my sweet potato vines are ready, if I have a couple extra, I might plop them in here so I have some foliage that comes over the side and just makes for a really pretty filling out of these type of baskets. Okay, so we're going to put a little straw flower on the end and a zinnia on this end and a goblin right here. Right, give them a little hit of water, and then usually the soil settles a little bit and I go back through and work it in a little bit. Hopefully these will do fine in the next few days before the sun pops out. I'll just keep an eye on them. I went ahead and put the cilantro in this last bed, which is our salsa garden. I know that it'll be long done before the tomatoes and the jalapenos are planted and finished, but it's a good place for it to grow right now, and then hopefully maybe we can dry some of it so that he could use it in some of his salsa. Well, that was a long day of planting. I'm pretty pooped. I did clear out 2 full trays and have a partial tray left. I didn't get to any of those brassicas, but y'all don't need to see me plant those again since I did that in a previous video. Well, I hope that wasn't too much planting for y'all. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel as I continue to plan out my garden. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.